Welcome back. Today we're going to start our first batch of hydroponic lettuce, and I figured I'd bring you on this journey with me. I've spent a lot of time reading, trying to figure out the best way to do this, so we'll see what happens. So what did I do for prep? Well, you have to get these leca balls, basically just clay balls. I soaked them for about 24 hours. Well, I rinsed them really well, soaked them for about 24 hours. And then I rinsed them again and let them dry for about a day under the light. And you can see that kind of over here in the corner. I've got some left over there. After that, well, actually before that, I had to start my seedlings. And what we did was we soaked some of the rock wool cubes for about, I don't remember exactly, several hours. And I took them out and I put 2 seeds into each cube, so that I'd have, definitely have one germinate. Seeds were a little old, so I wanted to make sure I was doubly sure on that. After that, I painted these jars. And what I did was, I put a strip of electrical tape up the side here, and I put 2 coats of black spray paint on that was good for glass. It's still a little translucent in places, so I'm hoping the algae doesn't get too bad. And then I peeled the strip off, and what this allows me to see is my water level. I'm planning to cut and come again on this lettuce, so I may have to add more nutrients from time to time, and I just wanted an easy way to see that. I'm going to cover that up with just some regular old masking tape under the lights so that the light doesn't get in there. So that brings us to today. The seeds have been germinating for about a week, growing for about a week, and I've got 2 nice little seedlings in each one of them, and I'll trim the weaker of the 2. And I had to mix my nutrients. This is, like I said, my first shot at this, and I mixed it a little too strong the first time. The scale I had did not do tenths or hundredths of a gram, and I found out as I was, well, actually after I mixed it, I was a little concerned it was a little too strong, but I was going to use it anyway. Went to talk to the wife and said, hey, I've got to get a better scale, and lo and behold, she already had one. I guess I should have asked ahead of time. But and it did tenths, hundredths, actually thousandths of a gram. And I used that, and I could tell that my initial batch was way too strong. So I highly recommend that you get a scale that does tenths or hundredths of grams. That's especially if you're mixing it at a gallon at a time, which is what I'm doing, because I'm using the master blend, and it uses, the instructions it gives is for 5 gallons. And for example, they want you to do 12 grams of the base of the master blend, the base for 5 gallons. Well, that's 2.4 grams for a gallon. So you kind of have to figure out, okay, where that is. Well, I estimated a little high and almost killed them. So that's the good news there. I don't have to start all over, or I don't lose a batch of 4 of my seedlings. After that, I checked the pH. The water out of my spigot, or out of the city water here is 8. It's a pH of 8. Mixing the nutrients in, and that dropped it down to about 6.5, but lettuce wants about 5.5 to 6. So I used some pH down, and I had to kind of finagle it a little bit with some pH up. I got it to about 5.5, 5.6. So we're good to go there. So that gives us, now we're ready to get them in the jars with the nutrients. So I've checked before, and you've got to leave about a quarter of this needs to be submerged initially. That's about 24 ounces on these 1 quart jars. So go ahead and take this, we'll pour it in the jar. About 24 ounces there. Take a little cup in here, drop her in there. We'll grab one of our cubes, figure out which one looks the strongest. And in this case, it's actually the shorter one. So I'm just going to trim off the taller one. Then I'll drop this down in a little cup here. Then we'll load it up with a good bit of these clay pebbles, these leca, I'm not sure how to say it. We'll pop those in there. And one thing I didn't mention earlier is this is the cracking method, as I'm sure most people who probably stumble on this video was already well familiar with. But basically it's kind of set and forget. You fill your jar up with the nutrients, and the nutrients will slowly, and the water will slowly be used by the plant. And it causes the level to go down until eventually the roots towards the top become air roots, and they take in the oxygen while the rest of the roots take in the water. Now you can add more water, especially if you're doing a cut and come again kind of situation, but you don't want to cover up those top roots or else your plants will drown. And that was something I never realized. The plants can drown. And normally they get their air through the soil. If the soil's not too compacted, they get lots of air and they're good to go. So hopefully in about 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have some lettuce. Now, why am I doing this? Well, here lately, at least in our area, romaine is getting a little hard to find, and it's getting more expensive just like everything else. And we were in the southeast coast, and I can't grow lettuce in the yard year round. It's just too hot. It gets too hot here. I probably have maybe at best 3 months in the spring and 3 months in the fall to be able to grow. And I prefer to have it year round because we have a lot of guinea pigs that love their lettuce. We like eating a lot of salads. We have chickens. It'd just be a lot more convenient if we are just growing it. We know what's in it. We know where it comes from. And we can pretty much grow whatever we want to. We don't have to spend a lot of money for those organic mixes, which is actually what this tray is here. This was not an organic mix, but just a spring mix from the local grocery store. I washed it out and I used it as the humidity dome to start these seeds so that they'd have a good start there and they get going. So we've got this one squared away. Now we're going to put it under the lights. And my lights, I'm just using regular old LED. Whoops, no we're not. We're going to add the tape first. Just run the tape down the side here. And these lights are just normal LED lights. I got them from Amazon. They don't sell this particular one anymore, else I'll link to it. But there are 6,000 Kelvin and 5,000 lumens. The 6,000 is important. That is the temperature of the light or the blueness of the light. And that range is, I believe it's 5,000 to 7,000 for vegetables. And that range is perfect for lettuce. I've started seeds over the last several years with them, and they just do amazingly well. Also, the 5,000 Kelvin is, 5,000 lumens is the brightness. The higher the brightness, the better. True grow lights aren't rated in lumens, so I can't really compare that these aren't near as bright as a true grow light. So that's why I have to have them so low and I have them clumped together so that the seedlings don't get leggy. I may go to grow lights down the road, but this is all I can afford right now. You can find similar lights on Amazon. I will link to the best one that I have found so far. And it's, I believe, $180 for 10 of the doubles. This was a 6-pack, but you get 10 and there's 2 lights per each. And I believe it was $180, $179. So there we go. So what I'll do is I'm hoping to make videos as we go, show the progress, and that way, you can come along with me and we can kind of make this journey together. And hopefully these will grow nice and strong and we'll have lettuce. Everyone have a wonderful day.